Are you owing a lot of debts and have you borrowed a lot of money? In this video, I'll be telling you how my friend paid off his many loans and debts and the practical steps that you can take to also pay off your huge loans and debts. Inspira Central. Inspira Central. Inspira Central. Inspira Central. Hello fellow Inspirers, welcome to Inspira Central. My name is Monica and I'm the chief inspirer herself. It's so good to have you here. Today I'll be talking about how to pay off huge debts and loans. If you're owing people a lot of money, this is one video you want to watch from the start to the end. Some years ago, a close friend of mine got into a lot of debts. He was owing so many people money in huge sums, and he was starting to think so many negative thoughts until an idea came to him. I'll tell you what he did and the practical steps that you can take to also pay off your huge loans and debts so that you can start 2026 on a better note. So if you watched the last live stream that I did some days ago, you would have heard me say that a friend of mine was going to come and talk about how he paid off his debts. However, my friend reached out to me last minute to tell me he would not be able to do the interview with me. He's a very shy person, he's an introverted person, and he said he didn't think he would be able to go through with it. And I said it's fine because I have to respect my friend's privacy and I have to respect the fact that he's introverted. So I told him I will use the tips and replies he gave me during our private conversation, and he was like fine with it. So in this video, I'm going to ask the questions that I had asked him in private, and I'm going to tell you the replies and the tips that he gave me on how he was able to pay off his debts and loans. So let's begin. The first thing you need to understand is that my friend got into a bad forex investment. That was largely what caused the debts. That was what made him to start owing different people. He got people to invest in something and it went wrong and they blamed him, and so he had to repay them. That was that. But eventually it led to him having to take some loans from loan apps. Now that you know the background story of my friend's loans and debts, I'm going to tell you the questions I asked him and the answers that he gave me. What was your initial reaction when the creditors came calling and asking for their money? When I asked my friend what his initial reaction was, he said it was panic and it was fear. He was feeling so pressured. He was having intense feelings of fear and panic. And at a point in time, he said he started considering taking his life. Then I asked him the next question, which was, what made you stop thinking about taking your life? My friend said he stopped thinking about taking his life when he got a phone call from a friend who casually called him to ask how he was, and because of a reply that he gave on her WhatsApp status. He told me that from there he opened up to this friend and was telling the friend why he was depressed and how he was owing so many people money. He said that that friend of his told him that they should make a plan, a repayment plan. She asked him, how many people are you owing? He told her how many people he was owing. And then she said, how much are you owing? Write it down on paper. And so he wrote it down on paper, exactly how much he was owing and who he was owing certain amounts. He wrote out the names of the people and wrote out how much he was owing them. Then she asked him if he was going to look for a job, and he said he had a job. And then she asked him, how much do you earn monthly? My friend told his friend how much he earned monthly. And then she said, okay, so let's create a repayment plan. How much can you pay these people each month? And then the guy said, this is how much I can pay, and I've called them and told them that I can pay them this every month. And she said, okay, that is good. That is a practical plan. Now his friend insisted that he must follow through on that plan. And she told him to stick to the repayment plan. and to ensure that he does not avoid the phone calls of those people he was owing, and to do his best to get out of the mess. And that was how my friend was able to come up with a repayment plan that helped him stop thinking about taking his life. Now, this therefore points to the fact that if you're owing people, you need to create a repayment plan. Because when you have a plan, you stop feeling hopeless. You stop feeling like there is no way out. You will start to see a glimmer of light. You start to see that there is some hope. And you start to see that there is actually something you can do in what is seemingly a hopeless situation. The more you have a plan, the more you follow through on your plan, the more practical your plan is, the less hopeless you will feel. You will start to take back your power. You will start to feel that there is hope. You will start to see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So if you ever feel like you want to take your life because you are owing people money, you need to understand that it's because you don't have a plan that you're feeling overwhelmed. It's because you cannot see a way out that you're feeling like you are engulfed and you're drowning. But the practicality of it is that there is always a way out. And taking your life is not the way out. There is always a way out, a practical way that can make you manage the situation well and still stay alive. So come up with a plan. Get paper, get a pen, and list out who you are owing, how much you are owing, and how you hope to pay them back. In what installments will you pay back? Write it all out. When you can see it laid out in black and white, it demystifies the problem. It makes the problem less burdensome. It makes the problem fizzle out. It makes the problem not to be so enormous and scary like it used to be. And then you start to see that it is something you need to take one step at a time. It's not as bad as it looks initially. It's not as bad as it looked when you first considered it. And this is not a situation where you need to take your life. There is no situation really where you need to take your life because you are owing somebody or for whatever reason. This is something doable. This is something practical. This is something you can work on. And when you start working on it, you will find out that you can overcome this problem. You can surmount this challenge and you can come out better and free of debt. The next question I asked my friend was, how did you pay off all the loans? And his reply was that, having set the plan, he reached out to everybody he was owing, told them how much he would pay them monthly. Some of them asked for interest, 10% interest. And he agreed to paying that in addition to what he had agreed to pay them monthly. And he kept paying from his salary, kept paying and paying little by little just as he promised until he paid off some people. There were some other people who, when he got to a point, they said, it's okay, you've paid enough. Even though you didn't pay off everything, it's fine. And they wrote off his debt. And that was how he was able to finish paying off his debt and to be debt-free. The next question I asked him was, besides coming up with a repayment plan, what other measures did you put in place? And he said that the first thing he did was to cut down on his expenses. You know, since he already had a job, he knew how much was going to come in every month. And so he decided that in order for him to pay back the amount he was to pay to those people every single month, he had to cut down on his expenses. And so he said that he started eating one time daily. He was eating once a day. It was no longer 3 square meals because he could not afford it. He said also that he stopped socializing. He stopped going out with friends. He stopped going out for events because he discovered that when you go out, you spend money. When you go to the club, when you go to the bar, when you go to the restaurant, when you hang out with friends, you spend money. And so he stopped hanging out with friends. He stopped doing things that made him spend extra things that he did not have to spend on. And so he cut down largely on his social life and spent most of his time at work or at home. And that helped him to minimize his expenses. Another thing that my friend said he did initially before he came up with a repayment plan was that he took loans from loan apps. You know, these days, you don't need a guarantor or a collateral. You just need your identification and some documents, and you can easily take a loan straight on your phone. It's as simple as one click. And so he said he took loans from loan apps. And then I asked him, how did taking loans from loan apps help you pay off your debts? And this was his reply. It didn't. He said that it was simply him robbing Peter to pay Paul. He said that it was simply a case of prolonging the inevitable. So he was simply adding to his debts. He was simply adding to the loans. He was simply adding to how much he owed one person or one organization, and that did not help him in any way. It simply meant that he had more creditors. And so taking loans from loan apps did not help in any way. And then he made a profound statement that really stuck with me. He said, don't take the first loan. Find a way without taking a loan. He said that you need to find a way, you need to find a solution to that problem, to whatever it is that is urging you and encouraging you and making you want to go and take a loan. He said, don't take that loan. If you need to earn more, earn more. If you need to get another stream of income, go right ahead. But don't take the first loan. Because if you take the first loan, you will take the second, you will take the third, the fourth, and then you keep going down a slippery slope. Alright? Now that leads me to the next question that I asked him. Many people today are deep in debt because of betting apps, especially sports betting apps. What is your take on that? My friend said that betting apps are a slippery slope. I quote him verbatim. He said they are a slippery slope. He said that sports is unpredictable and that there are many variables on matches and games such that you cannot accurately get the score or estimate the score or project who is going to win. And so that will make your bet to cut. That is going to make something go off among your bets. Let's say you put a bet on 4 games. 3 of them may turn out right, but the 4th one will ruin everything. Or you put your bet on 2, you will find out that 2 of them were completely off. Because this is reality. This is real life. You cannot accurately say who's going to do what or what is going to happen in a real life game. And so there are too many variables that you cannot accurately predict. And he said something that many people have not realized. He said that sports betting is gambling. Have you ever thought of it that way? That sports betting is gambling? Or you just say it's sport betting, it's just me betting? No, it is sports gambling. That's actually what it is. Then he said something that stunned me. He said that when people win, they make a lot of noise about it. But when they lose, they are quiet. When people win, they make a lot of noise about it. But when they lose, you never hear them saying, I lost a bet. It's the one time that they win that they will announce it, and then you think it is rosy over there and you join them. But what my friend said is that they lose more times, and those more times that they lose, they actually go, they say nothing about it. They don't share. They just go and sit in their pain quietly, waiting for the next time, the next try, and the next bet. That is what they do. And so you have to be careful with people who are encouraging you to come and take part in sports betting, because sport betting is something that has too many moving parts that you cannot control, too many moving variables that you cannot accurately predict. Another thing that my friend said that stood out to me was, I have never seen anyone who lives off betting. He means that he has never seen somebody who earned a living, a sustainable living through gambling. And that is something that we need to take to heart. That is something that we need to recognize and live with, because nobody can live off betting. Nobody can live off gambling. You have to have something sustainable. And my friend further said that you should be doing legitimate work and channel all your energy and attention towards that. And that when you do that, you're likely not to even remember or pay attention to sport betting. He said if you have something that you're doing that is legitimate work, if you have something that gives you some income, you would not have time for sport betting. You would not have time for gambling. So as part of our discussion, I asked my friend, what are the effects of sports betting and other forms of gambling? He listed several effects of gambling and sports betting. And the first one he listed was lack of savings. People would take that chunk of money that they have saved over time and invest in quotes, I will call it throw it away, into sport betting, thinking that the more they put in that money, the higher their chances, the higher their odds. And they end up having no savings. And another thing that sport betting does is that it makes you have zero saving culture. What is a zero saving culture? A zero saving culture is a culture where you stop building for the future and start living for today. It's a mindset where you stop looking forward to tomorrow and start being overzealous for today, because you want to put all that you have into where you are today, such that you no longer plan for the future. This zero saving culture is you building a poor financial discipline that will affect you not just today but in the future. My friend went on to explain that some people have jobs now and they still bet, they still gamble, they still borrow money, but it may not really affect them today because they feel that they can always bounce back given their job and how much they earn every month. But one thing they don't realize is that what happens when they're out of a job? When they have built this culture of wanting to spend and put everything into something that is not sure, something that does not have certainty or security, what happens when they don't have a job that can pay off the loans? What happens when they have built this culture of borrowing, of betting and gambling, such that they no longer know how to stop it? What do they do? Another effect of developing a gambling culture is that you start using lump sums that are meant for worthwhile projects to gamble. There are some people who have used their life savings. There are some people who have used monies that they saved up to build their houses. There are some people who have used their monies for their school fees to gamble, and now they have lost it. And that was money that was accumulated over time, saved up in pennies, saved up through painstaking and a lot of years and sweat and meticulous saving. And now they have just thrown all of that into the gambling and they have lost it all in one fell swoop. And when this happens, it leads to derailment, because when you have taken time to save up for a project and you end up not doing that project but throwing that money away through gambling that has gone bad or through a bet, it is difficult for you to get that money back. It's difficult for you to save it again because, like I said, you don't have a saving culture anymore. It's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for you to get that money back. And if you're lucky at all to go back to saving, getting your pennies together, there is going to be a delay, because it's going to take you more time to recoup that money that you have thrown into gambling than it would have taken you to spend the money on that worthwhile project that will yield you returns on investments. And speaking of returns on investments, gambling will stretch your finances too thin and yet not give you any return on investment. That will also keep you in a lot of financial stress. That is going to make you so constantly stressed out and worried about money. My friend said he was under a lot of pressure. He had a lot of pain, a lot of anxiety. His phone became something that gave him a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress. And then I asked my friend one last question. I said, what is your advice on how to avoid taking loans and getting into debts? I wanted to know, is it possible to avoid taking loans? Is it possible for you not to owe anybody any debts? And my friend said, it is possible. And these are ways in which you can avoid taking loans or having debts. The first one is live within your means. He says if you're earning a particular amount of money, you should manage yourself within your income. You should know that this is how much you put aside as savings, this is how much you spend. And stop trying to live above your means. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Stop trying to do what every other person is doing. You know how much you earn, so be realistic and face how much you're earning and know how to sustain yourself, care for your needs, make savings and investments with how much you earn. So live within your means. The second thing he said is be an investor, not a risk taker. Gambling is you taking risks. And so he said be an investor. Put your money into something that is credible. Put your money into something that will give you returns on investments, legitimate returns on investments, and not something that you hazard a guess or something that you're like, okay, it could be, maybe not. You want something that is a legitimate, sure, constant way of earning a living, of getting an investment and getting returns on investments. My friend also said we don't have an income problem, we have a savings problem. And I agree with him. I think many of us have monies that are coming in, but we don't know how to save for the rainy day. And so my friend says save for the rainy day. It's not necessarily that you're not getting money, it's that you're not saving money. It's that you're not putting some money away for the future. And that is why you constantly borrow. That is why you take loans. That is why you use sports betting and doing things that will reduce your funds. One other advice that my friend gave is that you should be financially savvy. Get to understand your finances. Get to understand what to invest in, how and when to invest. Also learn to save. There are some savings that you can put your money into and you actually get not just your capital, but you get some interest. Get to understand all these things because these facilities are available. These apps are there. Why is it that many young people don't see these apps? What they see are the gambling apps. What they look out for, the things that are so publicized are the sports betting apps. They are investment apps. Find out about them, understand them, get somebody that will hold your hand and guide you on the right things to invest in and where to put your money. Earn a living and also find a way to put some money aside so that that money that you have put aside can also get you some return on investment and become like a passive means of income for you. The last thing that my friend said and that I take to heart is don't roll with the wrong crowd. This is something that I am particularly big on, and I've talked about it here on Inspira Central. How do you choose your friends? And I've talked about how your friends could actually be destroying and wrecking you financially. I've talked about how your friends can determine whether you're going to be poor or rich. The link of that video will be in the description of this video. So back to what my friend said. He said, don't roll with the wrong crowd. The wrong crowd are people who keep getting you to make wrong investments. People who tell you that they are gambling, they are making a lot of money, and so can you. Like my friend said, the few times that people make money from gambling is when they announce it. But they never tell you of the 100, 1,000 times that they lost money. They will never announce it. And so you have to roll with the right crowd that wants the best for you, that cares about your future, and that will advise you on what to do financially. Another thing you have to be careful about is trying to keep up with the Joneses. Because when you move with the wrong crowd, those people will tell you, let's buy the designers. They will tell you, do you know how much I spent on a private jet? They will tell you all sorts of things that will sap your funds. And they won't even tell you how they are making the money. They will just encourage you to keep spending and spending and spending, and you end up broke. You end up penniless, and you end up struggling to be like them. Whether they are like that in reality, whether they are funded by their parents, you have no idea. But the simple fact that you look up to them, you listen to them, and you want to follow in their stead is going to keep you broke. And then you will end up taking loans. You will end up borrowing money. You will end up taking part in betting. that will lead you to lose all your funds. And so my friend said, be extra careful about the crowd you follow. And I say that to you as well. I'm also going to put the links of videos that I've made here on how to choose your friends and how to know the kind of people to work with, the best people that are good for you, for not just your present, but for your future. So before I go, I want to give you 15 quotes from my friend that will help you with your finances. And here are the 15 quotes. Cut down on expenses. Live a quieter, less social life. Betting apps are a slippery slope. There are too many variables on games and matches that something must make your game cut. When they lose bets, they are quiet about it. I have never seen anyone that lives off betting. Don't roll with the wrong crowd. Be an investor, not a risk taker. Be busy doing legit work and channel all your energy there. You will be too busy to look at betting apps. Be financially savvy. We don't have an income problem, we have a savings problem. Choose your company wisely when deep in debts. Don't take from Peter to pay Paul, it just prolongs the inevitable. Don't take the first loan. Find a way without taking a loan. Live within your means. So those are the 15 quotes from my friend. I hope that they guide you and help you as you rebuild your finances. If you enjoyed watching this video, please drop a comment below. Tell me how this video has helped you to fix your debts, especially as we go into 2026. I know that for so many people, it is too late for you to fix your debts in 2025. But I want you to have a roadmap. I want you to have a plan or something that can be a practical guideline that will help you pay off your debts in the coming year. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video and you would like to see more videos that encourage you and help you with your personal development, please subscribe to this channel. Simply click the subscribe button and get subscribed to this channel today. It is completely free of charge. You don't have to pay anything to subscribe to this channel. So, click the subscribe button. Also, do not forget to click the notification button so you'll be notified as soon as I update. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching it. Also, do not forget to share this video with everyone, especially those who have a lot of debts and loans that they are yet to repay. Share this video so that they can follow these practical tips that my friend followed and got out of that huge debt and those loans that he was owing. Share this video and help someone get out of that mindset of taking their lives because of how much they are owing. Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. Thank you for giving me your time. Merry Christmas to you. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas that leaves you with pleasant memories. Don't forget to be an inspiration. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Please subscribe, click the notification button, like this channel, share our videos, and follow us on social media. Thank you very much. Inspira Central.